Technology has been around for decades. The experts say this should not happen. What is going on? The enigma, the mystery begins now. Kuala Lumpur, the world's fastest growing airport in southern Asia. Over 35 million people transit every year. March 7th, 2014. Seems like an ordinary day. This airplane is about as stable as you can get in technology. It can land itself. Pilots prefer to fly it manually, but let me tell you, as far as state of the art, it can't get any better than Flight Malaysia 370. Pilots can say that this is about as best as an aircraft gets. Each craft is over $270 million in production. These things should not disappear. Think about that. There are 5 frequency and high frequency radios, a satellite receiver that could respond to emails, and 2 transponders attached to the plane. The technology around this aircraft is like a cocoon to transmit information back and forth to air traffic control and to the world. This thing vanished out of thin air. Very simple. Every major airliner is tracked. Flight Malaysia 370 was a routine flight. They're programmed via computer. There's no one way about it. It is what it is. From one destination to another. Very simple. Now things get really strange. Just after a minute of takeoff, air traffic control moderates the route. This is where I think the conspiracy begins. Strangely enough, they were told to climb a flight level of 180. They said it was a shortcut. Air traffic control is now in control of Flight Malaysia 370, not the pilots. Now, just 23 minutes after takeoff, Beijing receives a text from Flight Malaysia 370 confirming everything's okay. Now this goes to old technology. As Flight Malaysia flies over to Beijing, Vietnam gets involved. It goes to old school radar. Now things get dicey from here on out. Now this is where it gets weird. Kuala Lumpur is still tracking Flight 370 on secondary radar, and they asked the crew to contact Ho Chi Minh Airport for communications. This is where I think the communication breakdown begins. This will be the last flight communication ever with Malaysia Flight 370. Now get this. At 1:22 a.m., 3 minutes after the last correspondence with Ho Chi Minh City, both transponders on Flight Malaysia 370 go silent. Is this the moment of abduction, an alien encounter, or possible government involvement? Within 12 hours, Igari was the immediate place to search for wreckage. It was never found. The Malaysian authorities were overwhelmed. Answers didn't come through to the public, the families. They wanted to know. The world wanted to know. Malaysian government tracked MH370 for over an hour with the second primary radar that doesn't rely on transponders. What was going on? Why was the government even tracking Flight Malaysia 370? Another question. After all was lost and communication was broken down, Flight Malaysia 370 took an immediate left turn and entered the Indonesian airspace. Now this seems deliberate to me, under control, either by the pilot or remote control, extraterrestrial intervention. Now remember, if you're believing Malaysian radar, this is the stats, but it could be something altogether different. Experts, government officials, insiders all agree whatever happened on Flight 370 was deliberate in some kind of way. What was the presence behind the disappearance? For some unknown reason, at 2:25 a.m., Flight Malaysia 370 amazingly comes on radar again, almost like a jump, time and space. Experts will say that maybe the plane was hijacked in order to shut off the transponders. In my opinion, there are possible two sides of the story. Maybe it was cloaked in and out of time. There was some missing time. Third Phase of Moon back, taking your calls from around the world. The number to call in is 347-934-0378. We want to get your opinion on what happened to Flight Malaysia 370. There's still no trace. It's an incredible, terrifying situation when an airplane just and is never seen again. We're going to get to the callers, getting their opinions in regards to the UFO phenomenon. You got a UFO sighting you want to report? Share it to us right here at Third Phase of Moon. And if you have an opinion on what happened to Flight Malaysia 370, we'd sure like to hear it. Let's get started. Let's get to area code 405. Thanks for waiting. Welcome to Third Phase.
Blake, it's great to be back and on the show. First of all, congratulations on 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I hope that numbers keep growing.
Absolutely. It's quite humbling. 250,000 subscribers to Third Phase of Moon. It's hard to get your head around it. And 140 million views. The world's waking up. People want to share their stories, and people are listening. It's quite exciting times right now. You're calling in from, where are you calling in from?
Well, I'm calling from the Oklahoma City area. Not giving out the exact city because, let's just say, I'm kind of concerned about my safety, Blake. But I'm taking a risk by talking to you. But first, recently my grandmother told me this story that it didn't happen to her, but happened to a member of community. She used to live in Kansas, and small city in Kansas, and of course this is just gossip that a group, I think she said, 2 adult females and a young girl was somehow just disappeared for a few days. Now, of course, it was just gossip of was it a random act or whatever. They were gone for 5 days, I think, if I remember the story right, what she told me. And they just came back 5 days later, and they didn't know what happened to them. I mean, it made news, but it wasn't too big of a deal. This was probably in the 50s or so, because I didn't ask the time, but it was when she was much, much younger. Of course, you know how gossip was back then, especially in a small town. Now, I'm not sure how the adult females were related. They could have been sisters or cousins or just friends. I didn't ask too much information because she doesn't remember much about it, but she does remember the event pretty well back in the day.
Wow. So what happened?
They don't know. I mean, when the three people got back, they didn't know what happened to them. I mean, I didn't ask all the details, but they were gone for a few days, and it made national news for some time, and it just went away after a while. And tried to get on topic for today's Malaysia disappearance. I've always had a question about that. How can you lose a plane that big of a size? I'm not sure how big they are, but I'm trying to remember the name of the. How big again, Blake? 250 feet?
Yeah, it was a Boeing 766, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's 240,000 tons.
That's a big plane to lose. I mean, you should see wreckage. I mean, anywhere in the ocean, especially that big of a plane. And
oh yeah, yeah. It was actually, I don't know how heavy it was. It's quite massive, but
well, 240. It adds weight. Yeah.
Yeah, $240 million plane just doesn't disappear. This thing could land itself. And it was taken over by somebody took it over after the transponders were shut down. So who took it over is the big question. Who hijacked it? Was it extraterrestrial?
Yeah, but what's that pilot that landed that miracle on the Hudson River? Sullenberger? Sally Sullenberger, I think his name is. He's gone on the record saying technology ain't worth trusting half the time because he believes that power should be in control of the plane, not technology. Now, granted, it should tell us where the plane is and stuff, but plot completely flying itself. That's the problem that scares me with some of these technology, Blake.
Absolutely. It's just it doesn't make much sense. You know, there's a conspiracy involved, and who's involved is just yet to be found. And then there's a conspiracy theorists that say we know where Flight 370 is. It got blown up over the Ukraine. It's the same plane. That's what some people are saying. There's evidence that the Flight Malaysia 370, the windows match the wreckage on the ground over there in the Ukraine, and that's right there. Could explain why we never found Flight 370. But there could be another side to it as well.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that we not have to find. I think these large planes have like 2 black boxes, if I'm not mistaken. Because when we usually find one, eventually we'll find another one, right? You would have thought. And then there were some really important people on board Flight Malaysia 370. They had a lot of knowledge, and there were a group of people that were about to maybe help the world out, and maybe people in higher power didn't want that knowledge going to the public. Yeah, and I hate to mention, names of groups, but, I think I may know a few of them, but I'm not going to name them because, it could be anybody. I fear that there are people that do not want information to be out, whether it's UFOs or any other type of information. I do understand knowledge is power, but people don't want to have that type of powers because we don't think, people like myself, I'm raised to learn. I want to learn, and learning is power so we can make ourselves better. Am I not right, Blake? Absolutely. Information is the dominant ruler of mankind. That's how civilization begins. Let me ask you this. I know Jade Helm is beginning. What's your opinion on that? They're really not answering to the public what they're doing, this major exercise. I don't know who that is, and you kind of inform me a little bit because I'm not for sure. I'm not familiar with names half the time, Blake. I do apologize. Well, we'll get you stick around. Let's get to some other callers. Maybe some people know more than I about this Jade Helm major military exercise. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. I need to be corrected. This is just kind of going around. I've been hearing that name quite a bit. Let's bring in area code 732. Welcome to the show. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
Blake, it's Steve again. You talked to me a couple weeks ago.
Sure. Welcome back.
You were talking about the Malaysia flight. I actually know what happened with that. A group of reptilians had sit there and taken that plane down, along with people in the government. There were some important. Well, there were some important people on that plane. Half of them survived, and the other half didn't. what it is that the Greys and the Reptilians wanted me to call up the show today. And like I was saying, my implants and everything, and I talk to them all the time, like last time we were talking, they wanted me to call up. So as soon as you said about the Malaysia flight, I was like, oh, what? I know exactly what happened with that. Some of the people were taken to an underground base. It was a group of reptilians. It was a group of reptilians on that side of the country where that plane went down. They had something to do with it. There were some important people or something like that, and half of them made it and half of them didn't make it. And they, like I said, the reptilians and the Greys want me to have you call up today. So I was like, all right. So I was like, they're making me call. I was like, okay. I was like, you're talking about Malaysia flight? Yeah, I know exactly what happened. That's what they want me to tell you. I mean, how many people want to believe it or not? It's up to everybody. I mean, because when you hear something like this on Third Phase of the Moon, it's like everybody's going, that guy's a nut. And I was like, no, I'm not. Believe me. I was like, I wouldn't be talking to you if it was for them. The last time I talked to you, you were talking about this and that, and last time you were telling me everybody's like fast messaging you with like, oh, this guy's like, I was trying to promote Hangar 52. I was like, no, I'm not. And we were talking about Jay Essex. I was like, I'm not really trying to promote anybody, but with the Malaysia flight, that was out by a government over there and the reptilians, a group of reptilians over there.
Let me ask you this question. You said there were some important people on board Flight Malaysia 370. I want to ask you who they were and why were they so important, and also why did only half survive?
Well, for what reasons they take it down? It's other airplanes that crashed within the past couple of years. And even if, it depends how far you want to go back. Some airplanes that are getting, crashed, it's not a natural accident, even though the media would go, oh, yeah, well, the engine failed or something like that. Or, no, not really. Sometimes it's the government covers it up so much that a lot of people don't realize that it was taken down for reasons. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I was trying to say. It's like, and they're having me tell you this. I was like even tonight when I got out of work, like, are you going to call up? I was like, if you want. Because, like, Phil Snyder was killed because he was blabbing off too much. But you figure I got a couple of hundred Greys and a couple of hundred reptilians that telling me to call you up. I'm like, okay. Like I said before.
It's cool that the aliens are watching. If that's the case and, what you're saying is true, that's pretty awesome. That's about as awesome gets. Let me tell you that. Is there any way that you could prove this to us right here at Third Phase?
How many implants I got? How can I prove it? You're right. I mean, anybody can just call up and go, well, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And I kind of get what you're saying. Because whoever listened to the Third Phase of the Moon is like, am I making this up or am I telling you the truth? One of the Greys wanted me to tell you there's that Grey that you have in Hangar 52. It's a Calypsi Ray. That's a Calypsi Ray Gray. That's what the Sapolians want me to tell you. Because what it is like they're pointing out to me, like, after a couple of weeks, it's like on Hangar 52, it's like he's got a longer neck. And I said to them, what are you talking about? It was like,
absolutely. When we searched out the alien Gray for the movie Hangar 52, we came across a Zeton, and the company actually gave it to us for free because they knew it was getting the word out. It was based on a lot of people's encounters, close encounters with alien Greys, and they pretty much took all that information and then designed Zeta. Steve, stand by. I know what you're saying is quite incredible. We'll get to some other callers, and maybe they got a question for you, Steve. Let's get to area code 614. Welcome to Third Phase Moon. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from? 614. You there? You there? You're kind of breaking up there. Hello? Let's go to area code 626. Welcome to Third Phase. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
Pee-wee. I'm calling from the Los Angeles area. Right now, I'm just listening. It's really interesting.
Right. Well, we got a man that claims that he's sending. Hey, we got a person online that his name is Steve. He claims that he has communications with hundreds of the Greys. And if you have any questions for Steve, you could shoot that out. Or do you have any opinion on what may have happened to Flight Malaysia 370 and why it still has not yet been found? Steve says that it's pretty much been taken by the aliens.
Like, honestly, I wouldn't think otherwise, because it's a real big plane, a lot of weight, and to just make it disappear, it's just really weird.
How did it go down, Steve? Did a major mothership come and take it over? Was it?
It wasn't a major mothership. That gets into, like, we were last time I was talking to you, Blake. You know, it wasn't a mothership. What it is that you keep talking about on Third Phase of the Moon about HARP and this and that. HARP, they're doing a lot of things. Some of the Greys over here where I'm at, they want me to mention that, you know, because it was on Third Phase of the Moon about the Grey being behind one of the conferences. Wasn't that on Third Phase of the Moon? And you were talking about one time about how a Grey was on a New York City subway. What it was is he was in phase or out of phase, and somebody's seen that. This is on, you know, former Third Phase of the Moon show. And what it is that the HARP is screwing up the ships that are out of phase. What it is that they're in the atmosphere, and you can't see this stuff. And HARP screws the ships from, like, beaming in or beaming down, but there is Greys. They're walking around out in public out of phase. This is like, you know, one of the shows that was on HARP. You would sit there and said, you were in a former show that you were saying that one of the Greys, somebody seen it. That was the honest truth. What that lady told you was something about seeing something on a New York City subway about a Grey being, you know, she's seen a Grey. That was the honest truth. They're walking around amongst us and they're out of phase. You know, like kind of like Star Trek, where Geordie and Roe was on there and they were out of phase with the Romulan ship and stuff like that. That is the honest truth. There are ships up there that you can't videotape or you can't get a film of it because you can't see it. They're out of phase.
Third Phase of the Moon could be maybe a correlation. I just came up with the name. I thought it was pretty cool to name the channel the Third Phase of the Moon. And that's the way it goes. Let's get some other callers. I know Dell's been waiting. Dell has a story he wants to share, and maybe he's got an opinion on Flight Malaysia 370 after hearing some things right here in the last few minutes. Dell, you there?
Hey. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Hey, for joining us.
Hey, bud. How's it going? Hey, I think it's alien myself. I think they took them. People get missing every day. It's like his train went through a tunnel, right? A passenger train went through a tunnel and never came out on the other side. What happened to that train? You know, those people are missing. So
where was this?
It really is. I heard this like 20 years ago, probably. This is what I heard, and then it is gone. And what I want to mention about this this UFO that I sent you, I was kind of hoping you could take it and fix it up. You got the technology and fix it and get it clear, but you look inside, right? I could see ant people. I see there's little
ant people. Stand by. You know, I want to. Is there such a thing as an alien being, kind of described as an ant people? Steve, I know we're talking.
Yeah,
about
there is. There is. The Greys know
really?
them. They're vicious. They're extremely vicious. They're almost what it is like it's part of the Manton race. They're extremely vicious. If you were ever abducted with them, what it is that they would snap your arm off and go, "Oh, that broke easy."
Oh.
They're extremely vicious.
Wow, what do you think about that?
Okay, boy, I don't. I kept my distance, but what I could see in there.
How close were you to them?
I was like I said, about 20, probably 25 yards from it. If you can get those windows, you can freeze those windows. You can see all kinds of cool stuff in there. They asked Steve, did they worship the sun, or are they religious like? Did they worship? Because I could see there's like a star thing that it's like an altar thing. I could see. I could see baby ones. They got baby ones. They got little antennas. I'm serious. They're some of them's, one's gray, and they got and another one is, they look like an ant. Okay, but they're not ants.
Bill, were you kind of intimidated by them being in such close proximity?
I kept my distance. I don't want to be underneath them because what you look inside, they got this I don't know, kind of creature. Look, they got to eat, right? Right. If you got to eat, you're gonna get ready. You got to go poo poo somewhere, and they got this creature-looking thing.
Wow, incredible.
Pseudopod.
Stay tuned.
It's a pseudopod.
We're going to break now.
Okay.
We're going to break right now. They'll stand by, everybody. Third Phase of Moon is going to be taking your calls from around the world. We got another half hour to go. The number to call is 347-934-0378. Everybody, stand by. Third Phase of Moon. We'll be right back. Wow. And Alien Grays wanted to communicate with Third Phase of Moon. Flight Malaysia 370 missing, still no sign. The radio show's just started, and that's what you've heard in the past 20 minutes. The number to call in is 347-934-0378. Share your story. Share your story to the world right here at Third Phase of Moon. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get started. Get to callers. We've got callers from around the world. 715. Welcome to the third phase. Thanks for waiting. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
My name's Joe. I'm calling from Superior, Wisconsin.
Joe?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's going on over there?
I don't know. I'd say the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Nothing major, I'd say, but it's just I've been seeing kind of like these lights. I'd say they kind of look like a star almost, but you would kind of, I don't know, I guess you'd say maybe they look like a shooting star, but then they get bright again after, it looks like a shooting star, and then they come back and get bright again. And then my cousin and I were actually out in the yard like a few days ago, and we seen one do like kind of like the Nike check or swirl or whatever.
Kind of like a zigzag?
No, kind of like, like the Nike check or the swoosh, Nike swoosh. It kind of did that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's...
So what do you think it was? What would your buddy was there right with you at this exact time? Did you guys question each other what you guys just witnessed? Did you film it?
We definitely... No, we didn't film it or anything, but we definitely questioned what it was. That's for sure.
Wow, it's very cool. Did anybody report it in the papers the next day?
Not that I know of or anything, but I've been kind of seeing them, like I said, on and off probably about 3 times the last 2 weeks, and that main incident when my cousin and I seen it, probably about 4 or 5 nights ago, when it did that.
Well, you know what, man? Get your cameras ready. Get those daytime videos. That's where it gets really exciting. It's hard to capture videos, UFOs at night. We get a lot of them over here. Cool encounters, but capturing it on film, now that's a different story. Do you have any video cameras, any equipment?
Yeah, I do. Well, not actual video equipment, but I got, cameras and stuff.
All right, Joe. Well, keep in touch, man. You keep in touch. Let us know if you capture anything. Let me get you a quick question, too. What do you think happened to missing flight Malaysia 370?
Well, I definitely think UFOs or, I guess, extraterrestrials had something to do with it. I mean, what else could have happened to it? That's exactly. What else could have happened to it? Thanks, Joe, for joining us right here at Third Phase of Moon. Keep your eyes to the skies, and we'll keep in touch. Let's get to other callers right here. The phone lines are building up. We're going to have a few minutes left right here at Third Phase of Moon. Let's get to it. Area code 573. Welcome to the show. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from? 573. You there?
Hi. Oh, hey.
Hi there. Hey, you're coming in a little broken up. Can you get closer to the microphone? And, tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
Go ahead. I've got my brother on the phone also.
Oh, great. Whom are we speaking with?
Oh, you're speaking to Josh here. I was really confused last night. Me and my brothers just happened to, see these, glowing lights. It scared us. We didn't know exactly what they were. But
really?
Yeah, it was really weird. And then we think we saw one of our dogs that disappeared, 3 years ago. Saw these,
you saw your dog disappear 3 years ago? Can you get closer to the mic, please? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We saw our dog.
No, I can't hear. We can't hear what you're saying. Can you get closer to the phone or wherever you're talking into? Get closer to it. Thanks.
Hello? Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you. So you saw. Let's start from the beginning. You said a few years ago you saw your dog disappear.
No. Last night we just saw these glowing lights, and then we think we saw our dog that disappeared, and all of a sudden, we saw this, glowing beam, and an anal probe just floated down and, fucked the shit out of it.
Gotcha. Well, man, I hope your experience with that was fun, dude.
Appreciate the call in, man. Anyway, thought that was coming up. Let's get to another caller right now. Let's bring in Steve. Steve, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. You still there? Yeah, I'm still here.
What's up with this abduction and then some of the procedures that apparently goes along with that? Does it involve some of this action that was just kind of called in by the previous phone caller?
The previous phone caller, you know, with the abductions with the Greys, they test people. They want to see how fast their synapses fire. Like on Iron Man, the guy throws 3 Marlboros on a table, and you can see the synapses firing in his brain in Iron Man, the movie. And I'm not trying to promote Iron Man, but I'm just saying that's what the Greys look at. Like in the Avatar, you know, the guy with the iPad, and the guy goes, "Wow, nice brain activity." That's what the Greys look at, stuff like that. They check people for DNA, you know, and a lot of people might not understand it, but I mean, you know, with the cow abductions and stuff like that, they use the DNA and stuff like this. And, you know, they use the blood and the DNA from animals, and they're able to splice DNA from one species to another or enhance a species with it. So it's like, you know, when they abduct people, they check their DNA, they check the synapses and the way their brains firing out. You know, they instantly check for IQ, and the second they abduct somebody, you don't even have to say anything. They already know what you're thinking. They know what you're, you know, the paranoia and stuff like that. To them, it's hard to say. Some of them are heartless, you know, and they really don't care. They're just, when they take people, they don't care if you got to go to the movies or if you're going to your mom's. They just, well, there's one right there. Let's grab them, and that's what they do. I've talked to some of the Zetas, and some of the Zetas are like, those boys are nuts. They don't care who you are. They'll do whatever they want to you, and they get people across the country. They're abducted. They literally have them terrified, not to say anything to anybody. You know, but that's the way they are. I mean, I'm talking to some Zetas.
Are they going to be? Some people say, like Stephen Greer says, that alien abduction really doesn't exist. Is that it's all government operated with genetically engineered humans to appear as Greys. What do you think of that theory? Is this pretty much? What do you think about that, Steve?
It's a great project that's coming to an end. That's what the Greys are telling me. The Sapoians. Not Slipsy Ray or not Zetas. It's a great project that's coming to an end with making a human hybrid. That project's coming to an end. They're not abducting as many people as they used to because disclosure is coming up real slow, like it's like a snail. You were asking me that the last time. What about disclosure? The United States government doesn't want to let this out. The reptilians don't want to let this stuff out. They want to keep the same thing the way it was or the way it is, you know, with abductions. But, you know, when you got cell phone cameras clicking off all the way across the country, you know, it's like on Third Phase of the Moon and stuff like that, how do you hide it? You really can't. Do you tell all those people with the cell phone cameras, oh, you're full of baloney? You know, you see what I'm getting at? You know, everybody goes, you know, like I said to you last time I was talking to you, I have implants. That's why I talk to the Greys, the reptilians, and the Anunnaki. You know?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you about it. Let's get back to Flight Malaysia 370. You say it half survived. Are we going to be, are they ever coming back?
As far as I know, they were taken by a group of reptilians in that part of the country or wherever that plane went down. You know, the government that's over in that part of the country knows where the plane's at, but, you know, half of them survived and half of them didn't. They were taken to an underground base. You know, that's what I was told by, you know, the reptilians that are over here in, or, you know, the area where I'm at, you know. That's what they were telling me. I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, what am I going to do? Tell them no? I mean, you know, it's the kind of thing, you know. Plus, you know, I had a psychic tell me the same thing too. It's like, well, then, you know, when the two stories jive together, you know, but who how do you make somebody to believe, what I'm telling you is the honest truth? It's like you listen to a radio program and some people go, oh, well, he's a wacko. It's like, am I making it up? There's lots of people in the country that have implants. I mean, it's thousands. It's not hundreds. It's in thousands. Whether they have the nanotechnology, the nanobots, or, dime-sized implants or quarter-sized implants, they have them. There's people getting across the country trying to get them removed because they don't want to be, you know what I mean? They don't want to be underneath that, how should I put it, the iron cage. But what do you do? They still abduct people and they still use them for, testing and whatever, whether they want DNA samples and stuff like that. Some people in the United States have DNA that the Greys and the reptilians want. So it's like I'm saying, if they run out of it, well, we can just go pick this guy up right here. Pick up a couple of people over like that.
Steve, we're running a little bit out of time. I want to give everybody some last statements because it's been a cool, incredible show. Some interesting information coming in. Steve, what's the most important information that Third Phase of Moon viewers should listen up right now to? Go ahead, Steve.
If you want a decent, last statement real quick, if you want a decent picture of a draconian, Simon Parks. Simon Parks has got a picture of a draconian, an actual drawing that's so accurate, that's what a draconian looks like. And
wow, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the insight. Welcome back. Come back anytime to the show. Appreciate it. Let's get to Del. Del, hey, thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase. Any last words for the listeners?
Hey, yeah. Hey, next time Steve comes on, ask him how many bases they got over here in Montana. Or is there any around Helena, Montana? Because I just seen two. I'm trying to film them. I'm trying, get it on camera.
Wow. Get the camera right now, Del. Get it right now. Can you answer that question real quick there, Steve?
The Greys and reptilians I'm talking to, they want me to come on the show, but they don't want to give me. They don't want me to give out that information. There's quite a few bases in the United States, and I mean a lot of them, and they don't want me to give out that information because Phil Snyder was killed for blah blah, because he was telling everybody across the country, this is where they're at, and he was killed for that. So they don't want me to say that, and I talk to them all the time. So they're like, don't say that. I'm like, okay. Whether if you want to believe me or not, that's the only thing I could tell you. I have all my implants. I'm not.
Yeah, that I would be concerned too about giving that kind of information out if it's going to jeopardize the life. But hey, man, information is freedom. 405. Any last words for the Third Phase Moon viewers? Thanks for joining us.
Well, Blake, thanks for letting me be on your show again. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Freedom is knowledge, and don't be afraid to question things. It doesn't matter how crazy it may sound, but don't be afraid to question, even though there are even answers. Don't be afraid to ask more questions, because knowledge is power, and I want to get as much as knowledge as I can so I can be a very powerful man and a very knowledgeable man. Other than that, keep your eyes to the skies and keep your wits sharpened.
Have your cameras ready, man. Hey, appreciate it. Hey, thanks for calling in. And you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's get to area code 626. Hey, thanks for joining us. Any last words? Go ahead.
It's just for the guy with the implant. Is there any tiny ones, really, really small? Probably, I'm saying 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah, the alien implants are really small, sometimes almost invisible to the naked eye. I know it for a fact. Dr. Roger Lear removed 17 alien implants. We had the documentary out. Everybody take a look at that if you want to find out everything there is to be known about alien implants and what happens after they're removed. The Alien Human Project, available on YouTube for free. Everybody, take a look. Check it out. 715 715, you there?
A couple of the brake parts are 10, 15. But
We're missing out 715. Let's go to area code 734. Any last words for the listeners right here? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that aliens are definitely, they're definitely here, you know, they're definitely watching us.
You know they are, and they're here. They're here right now, and they're living amongst us right now. Third phase of the moon. Everybody, hey, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll be back next week, Friday, 12 a.m., midnight. If you're in the East Coast, 9 p.m. Los Angeles time, and 6 p.m. Pacific time. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. Share your footage. Share your insight to Third Phase Moon on YouTube. We're standing by all week long. Take a look at the videos. 251,000 subscribers. Now that's incredible. Everybody, play cousins. We'll see everybody again next time.